Hello everybody, welcome back to part two of the Chester tour. Thought we'd start off the tour this time at the historic Pierre Menard house. Interesting house, very pretty looking place. It was first occupied by the first lieutenant governor of the state of Illinois. Right across the river from here is Kaskaskia, which used to be the state capital, but the change in the river flow and the drop in population stopped that. Currently they are closed here today, but I can just kind of get up here, so I can still take a look, show us the house, take a look around. Very beautiful home. Normally the river is not up this far. As you can see here, their front street is under, but there's still access to the parking lot. We can still walk around, look at the outside of the house. It's very nice. Now, Chester, Illinois was founded in 1829. Ooh, trying to stay out of the water. Wow, the water was all the way up here. Just missed the house, thank goodness. But yeah, Chester was founded in 1829 by Sam Smith. Sam Smith also built the first house in Chester, although I don't know where that is. It may no longer be around. And Sam Smith, his wife, her name was Jane Smith. She was from Chester, England, and that's how they named the town after his wife. Oh, look at all the little bitty tiny little toads around here. Oh my gosh, look at these little guys. That is the smallest toad I've ever seen, and I've seen some toads. That is cool. In 1830, R.B. Servant opened the first general store, the first business in Chester. It was a general store, and it was also a castor oil press, and then he would sell seeds to people to grow castor beans, and then he would buy the beans from them and press them into oil. It was a very successful business until modern petroleum made that no longer necessary. That was really cool. Looks like the house could use a little bit of work. Don't know what that building is up there, maybe storage. Unfortunately, all the doors are closed. I believe they claim this is a smokehouse. Oh, they got tables in there now. This is different. It's been a long time since I was here. Now it looks like an outside kitchen of some sort. Used to be looking like a smokehouse, or maybe just this little part on the back was a smokehouse. Really cool. In Chester, they've got lots of state parks, lots of monuments, lots of regular parks, and I even saw a really nice looking golf course on my way here, right on the main road on Route 3. This is really neat place. Last time I was here, I was just a kid, and the house was closed then too, but the river was not on the street. So kind of cool seeing it, since I don't have to clean up the mess. A couple more outbuildings. Alrighty, and millions of toads out this year. All right, well, let's continue on. Let's see what else we can find here in Chester, Illinois. Okay, now we're at the site of Fort Kaskaskia, another state historic site. says they're not certain of the fort's original appearance. They have an artist's conception showing the fort under construction, which is based on the archaeological and descriptions written in 1766. So let's go take a look here at what used to be Fort Kaskaskia. When I was a kid, I always wanted to come here because I thought these hills looked like a fun place to play. But we never actually came here when I was a kid. So now this is actually my first trip here. So you guys get to come along and see it for me the first time. Oh, okay, cool. There's one of the turrets. I don't know if you can see that very good. It would stick out and kind of protect. All the mounds around here were hills. This was originally built to protect the city of Kaskaskia, which was at that point not across the Mississippi River. Now it is across the Mississippi River because the river changed course. But yeah, it was a French fort, and I'm assuming get up to the top here, we should be able, hopefully we should be able to see the Mississippi, get a nice view of the Mississippi River there. It'd be pretty nice. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it already. Even with the bushes overgrown and the vines going up the trees, still get a real nice view of the Mississippi River there. Wow, that is something else because the river's still up right now. So it's still in flood zone, floodplain. You see all the mounds here. Used to be the edges of the fort. I guess people were actually stationed in here. They had to be stationed in here to protect the city, which was just at the bottom of this hill and has long since been put underwater when the river changed course. Flooding's always been huge in this area. Huge part of this area's history. This is kind of cool. Yeah, like I say, there's historic sites and small museums and all kinds of cool stuff all over Chester. I mean, if you're going to take a day trip and you're anywhere close to here within a few hours, well worth it. Well worth it. Good places to eat, like the Reed's Harvester House. Don't tell them I said that. Oh, tell them what the heck. Really neat historic sites. You could picnic. Oh man, this would be a lot of fun. We actually used to do that when I was a kid. We'd come here. That's the first time I saw Pierre Menard House, was on a day trip with my family up here. Alrighty, well, let's go see what else we can find. And here, still at Fort Kaskaskia, we got the Garrison Hill Cemetery. I have never seen this before because, like I said, I've never been here, but according to this, bodies of the early Illinois settlers are buried in the cemetery. They were moved here from 3 cemeteries in Kaskaskia village when the floods began to destroy the village. Like I say, the river changed course in the late 1800s. Concerned residents acted to transfer the remains to a safer place. According to one account, 3,800 boxes, some containing entire families, were moved to the cemetery, which was dedicated in 1891. See around. I'm going to go look around, see if I see any names I recognize. A lot of my family is from this area, so it's possible, although it's a long time ago. My great-grandfather, who lived on Kaskaskia, was born in 1890, so it's possible some of my relatives are around here. I'm going to take a look. Wow, these are definitely some very old tombstones. Mostly they're just markers anymore. You can barely read anything on them. Wow. Yeah, they're completely illegible. Just moved them all here, get them all safe from the floods. But yeah, I can't really read any names there. I think I'm gonna look a little bit more, see if I can find anything. If I do, I'll show you, and if not, we'll go on to the next area down the road. It says there's a campground, so that could be kind of interesting. Hey, I've got a nice little campground here. Show you guys a quick view here of the campground as we drive past them. Little campsites, benches. You can get electric if you want. See come camping, go to all the different sites. Nice weekend. Couple people over there camping right now. And the piece de resistance for this particular park is this really nice pavilion, which will walk out to an incredibly beautiful scenic overlook. Really nice pavilion though too. Camping in here, or not camping, but picnicking in here. Really pretty. And it takes you right out to scenic overlook on the Mississippi River. You can see Beaver Island from here. Wow, that is really nice. Especially with the water up, it really makes it look like something. River's really high right now. I only just recently got the ability to cross over the Mississippi River on the Kaskaskia, or the Chester Bridge, not Kaskaskia, Chester. The informational plaque on Lewis and Clark in Illinois. And I believe we've got another informational plaque right over here on Beaver Island right out there. I guess there were beavers on it. I don't know. I have no idea why they named it that. Oh, okay. According to this, site of Old Kaskaskia, first state capital. 1965. Cool. Well, there you go. Incredibly beautiful view. And a great little pavilion. Okay, and a famous person who spent the night in Chester, Illinois on April 11th, 1842, none other than Charles Dickens himself. Charles Dickens was the writer of A Christmas Carol and obviously several other books. Can you imagine what it would have taken for somebody in 1842 to travel from England all the way here to Chester, Illinois, in the middle of America? There was no Uber, there was no airplanes. You had to travel by boat and then by horse or a boat up the Mississippi to get up here. Tremendous amount of time. And here he was in Chester, Illinois, tiny town of a couple thousand people in the middle of nowhere. I would love to know what he was doing here. But also, L.C. Seeger was the creator of Popeye the Sailor Man, the cartoon character, which is why Chester's known as the hometown of Popeye the Sailor. And Elsie was born here in Chester, raised up here in Chester, and then the creator of the Popeye cartoon series. So that's why Chester has that claim to fame as well. For such a small town, there is a lot going on here. Really cool. And off in the distance here, we've got the Pierre, Menard, oh, I'm sorry, just the Menard Correctional Center, a medium security facility. And at one point, there was, I believe in 1980, there was a famous person who was kept here for 14 years, John Wayne Gacy. He was he's known to have killed 33 people, and he may have killed more. He buried most of them in his basement. Lovely. His house had to smell wonderful. And he was eventually put to death. Now, the Pierre Menard, I keep saying Pierre, scratch Pierre, just the Menard security place, prison here, did used to have a death row in it, but that's been shut down for quite a while now. So John Wayne Gacy was actually executed at a different facility, but he was kept here for 14 years. And I guess he won't be bothering anybody else. All right, I'm going to do this one from inside the car because it's a little loud outside and there's a lot of traffic going on. But in 1916, a group of 3 people here in Chester, Illinois got together and started the International Shoe Company. In the beginning, they had about 50 employees, and then they were able to grow that up into the 1950s, whereas in 1953, they had over 1,000 employees and a payroll at the time of over $2 million, which was pretty impressive for a small town. You know, a couple thousand people lived in the town. And later on, they started in 1916. A few years later, they opened up a second building. They built a second building, so they had 2 buildings going with 1,000 employees. That payroll would equal about about $19 million a year in today's money. And then also in town, other people opened up a hosiery factory, and they had at their peak they had over 275 employees with a $700,000 payroll. So you imagine a small town here in the middle of nowhere, really. I mean, once the Mississippi no longer became a hub, Chester was just kind of here, and yet they still had payroll of $2.7 million. And the shoe factory in World War II started creating combat boots, and they peaked in 1953, but by the early 1960s both companies were out of business, and the buildings were all taken over by Gilster Mary Lee. And Gilster Mary Lee still has them today, and they produce a bunch of food products, stuff that goes to making different things. But still a big employer in Chester. Yeah, I got the buildings right here. The 2 main buildings there. Pretty good size. Crazy for the little bitty town of Chester in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. In 1839, Nathan Cole opened the first sawmill with a corn grinding attachment hooked up to it. Later on, they used that to ground flour, and then and actually that very same place is still open and still operating today, 180 years later. Now it's run by Ardent Mills, and that's them right there behind me. Got a little flood water themselves here. I was going to pull up on the street, but yeah, that's the street, so I think I did better going by the railroad tracks. Let's take a look at this big boy here. Really interesting thing to note that after a little while after this was up and running, Nathan Cole purchased a generator and used it obviously to generate electricity, and then he used the extra electricity generated to light street lights in the city of Chester. And at the time, even the city of Chicago didn't have street lights yet, so Chester was ahead of Chicago, at least when it comes to electricity and street lights. Who knew? Who knew? Well, I don't know what went on here, but something has had a better day. Whole rack of bleached bones here on the side of the train tracks. There's some teeth. Looks like some kind of deer or something, maybe. I did see a deer earlier walking around. Just better watch my step, or maybe this guy got hit by a train. Who knows? Because train tracks right there. Who knows? Well, some famous people who have some connection to Chester, Illinois include none other than Mark Twain, the writer of Adventures on the Mississippi and the Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Life on the Mississippi. And in fact, in Life on the Mississippi, he actually mentions one of the famous houses here in Chester, Illinois. Then there's a house called the Cohen House that is famous for having blue windows that are visible from the Mississippi River. And here we are right now. We've got the Cohen House, and you can even see the blue windows up there. It's supposed to have a remarkable view of the Mississippi. What do you say we try to sneak on up there and just kind of take a look and see? I don't see any people around. I think it'll be all right. I believe this may even operate as a bed and breakfast even today. I don't know for sure, but it's a neat looking house. A lot of people come here still, I believe. Get up here on the house and then take a look at that view. You can see the blue windows. Oh yeah. And the view from here of the Mississippi, that's a fantastic view. Oh, here comes a train. There's train tracks too. Over on the side, even the house next door looks like it's got some age to it. A lot of history in this little town. It's really quite surprising. Okay, we're gonna finish this tour same way we started it, crossing the Mississippi River, this time leaving Chester instead of going to it. Hope you guys enjoyed the trip, and be sure to hit that like button, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button, because we just are not getting that many subscribers yet to this channel. So let's fill them up. Let's start getting some subscribers in there. River's gone down a little bit, but it's still substantial. Whenever the video's over, I'll throw in some video I got of the river when the bridge itself was actually partially underwater. Couldn't cross over because there was actually water going across this bridge. It's not that far from it now, but it's about 4 to 6 feet up under now, whatever, 4 to 6 feet before it can come back over. So let's hope that doesn't happen again for a while. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.